Check, 3, 2, 1. Hello, you guys there? Take your time, guys. I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting here waiting for you to start the music. Welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome, the only podcast you'll ever need. Here are your hosts, Mike and Darin.
Hey everybody, I'm Darin.
Mike is me.
And welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome. This is the silver episode, number 75.
75. Is 100 the gold? Golden
100
episode?
is gold. Silver is, hold on a second. Gold is 50. 100 is diamond.
Okay.
I don't know.
What the hell are we? You know what? We've been told that people get sick of us talking about the numbers of the episode, and we need to be funny in the first 2 minutes.
Right. You've brought that up. The guy who told you that is probably dead.
I still don't hear any funny coming from your face right now. I just hear excuses.
Okay.
Say something funny.
Your mom.
Welcome.
Welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome.
Irritable Dad Syndrome, episode 75. As
Our
Darin,
final episode.
So eloquently put, he is Darin, I am Mike. We're happy you're here. Actually, we're not. We can't see you. We don't even know you're there. We know that there's some of you that listen to us all the time, and we appreciate that. Mm-hmm. If you're a new listener,
welcome.
You don't have to listen to like episode 1. As a matter of fact, we recommend that you don't.
We strongly discourage that.
Yeah, we started figuring out how to press record and put a decent thing up somewhere in the 20s and the 30s. We got a little bit better. And the 40s and on, have at it. Go to our website, look for a topic that you want to see.
IrritableDadSyndrome.com.
Yeah, for those of you who don't like words and reading, there's pictures. So if you're like, I want the Keanu Reeves one, well, there's one with a Keanu Reeves picture. If you're like, I want the one about red velvet cake, there's a picture of red velvet cake.
Mm-hmm. Last week's episode had Louis Anderson and Meatloaf on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Louis Anderson and the singer Meatloaf, not Louis Anderson eating meatloaf.
Right.
That's terrible. Okay.
Anyway. Hey, Mike, let's try to be funny within the first 2 minutes. This is gonna be a real humdinger of an episode because tonight's Mike has been slammed at work all week. I have been slammed at my new job all week, and I was looking at the rundown, and the rundown is basically, for the most part, stuff that we didn't get around to the past 5 or 6 episodes. So we're going to talk about things that happened over Christmas.
And some callbacks. I've had some input from some of our fans about the topics we've talked about in recent episodes. Mm-hmm. I have a continuation of my red velvet cake rant.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about are you more in favor of red velvet cake or less in favor of red velvet cake?
So
because when we wrapped that episode, you had decided that you were going to stop being a jackass and didn't like it.
For me to talk about what happened with red velvet cake, I need to talk about you and your wife. So settle in.
Okay.
There is a text group that includes me, my wife, you, and your wife.
Yes.
Okay. And
it's an exciting text group too. Man, it's just loaded, just fun all around.
It includes school updates on those occasions when we're all going to go out together. It includes 2 days of, are you going to go here? What time are we going to go there? What are we doing this? What are we doing?
What time are you leaving?
I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait to see you. Oh, it's been so. And then after, it was so wonderful seeing you. Oh, yes, it was so great seeing you. Oh, we should do that again. Yeah, we should absolutely do that again.
That is Libby and Bess doing that. Mike and I are like, I'll see you Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll see you Tuesday, and we'll talk about all the that they're not talking about.
Right.
Here's the thing. I pulled that up. I went to the Cheesecake Factory. Let's back up a little bit. We have not been cooking much this week because we don't care. And we decided, I helped greatly in this decision, to eat at Bibby Bop. You know Bibby Bop. You've been to Bibby Bop?
No, I've never heard of Bibby Bop.
No, Bibby Bop is basically, it's the Chipotle of Asian food.
Is that like that Italian place where they put like, no, that's Buco de Beppo.
Did you hear me when I said Asian food? Did you hear that part?
No, I tuned you out shortly after we started.
So it's in Liberty Center. All right. And it's right smack next to Cheesecake Factory.
For people in Europe listening, it's the Liberty Center is a shopping center in Westchester, Ohio, which is north of Cincinnati, about 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's not like that's not where we have the guillotine and we take out everybody. Listen.
Well, I'm going to interrupt you because I was talking to Kate Halpin a couple weeks ago. I ran into her at Kroger, and she was joking about how we talk about so many things that are local that we think are funny, but like our guy in Australia who downloaded the show, he don't know what the hell Kroger is. He don't know what Liberty Center is. He don't know what the UDF down off of Pine Street is.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, Bibbidi Bop is right next to Cheesecake Factory, which is the whole reason I wanted to go to Bibbidi Bop in the first place, because once I go there, I have every excuse in the world to walk right next to it and get a slice of cheesecake. Mm-hmm. So I called Bess. I twisted her arm. Andrew does not like cheesecake. Charlie likes cheesecake. Charlie likes things that normal kids don't like. I don't think normal kids like cheesecake.
How do you not like cheesecake?
Andrew does not like cheesecake.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. He just doesn't like cheesecake.
Okay.
So, but I do. I enjoy cheesecake, and I enjoy the classic. I enjoy vanilla bean cheesecake. You can take all your fancy other weird coconut stuff and shove it. Give me a vanilla bean.
Well,
so
I
go
hate
in
coconut,
there.
so.
I go in there, and I'm looking at their display case, and what do I see? Red velvet cheesecake.
Right.
And I mouthed to myself, you got to be kidding me. And then I pulled up the text group that includes you and your wife and Bess and me. Mm-hmm. And I had a F-word laden rant about the fact that there was red velvet quacking cake at the Cheesecake Quacking Factory. My God, does this never end? And I was just went on this huge rant. I was ready to send it. And I thought, I don't think this is the right venue for a text that has, at that point, 5 F-bombs.
Yeah.
I think there was an S word. I may have put a gosh darn it of an alternate variety.
Right.
But then I looked at it and I was like, this text group is kind of like, it's not church, but it's like it's a more formal text group. It's one of those where if I'd sent that, I just pictured the Darin Cox household, the phone's going bling, and Darin looking down and seeing it, and then mouthing to himself, and then Libby getting a furrowed brow and looking up and saying, I don't know if I like how Mike's talking to us. Do you think he talks like that all the time? Is this what you guys talk about on the podcast? Mm-hmm. Should I start listening to the podcast again and monitoring what you guys are talking about?
Every episode she's listened to, it's been quack laden.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Unquacked can take you aback.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I didn't send it out, and it was a lost rant. But here I am to rant about it. I think it's stupid. I think red velvet cheesecake. Stop.
Did you try it?
Stop.
Okay.
Also, I was texted from a fan a picture of blue velvet cheesecake. So I appreciate the fact that the fan not only heard my question, my query, as it were.
Would you call me?
About why we don't have blue velvet cheesecake, because apparently we have blue velvet cheesecake. Mm-hmm. But then that opens up the whole bag of worms. Is that the right word? Or can of peaches? That opens that whole thing about every other color
box
in the rainbow. And so I'm sure there's rainbow velvet cake. And it just points to the absolute absurdity of having red and velvet in your cake description. I'm willing to let go of yellow cake if everyone would agree to let go of red velvet cake and just call it cake and then the color if they decide to put food coloring in it. But stop throwing fabrics and making a big deal about it, especially now that there's blue velvet cake and yeller cake and all these other types of cake.
Oh my God, it's like you didn't understand a thing that we talked about last week. We're right back at zero with you.
I know, and I am very aware of that. And normally I wouldn't say anything about this, but as you said at the top of the hour, we ain't got much for this one. But then there's the part that, this is the part that I love, is that I told you I went to Bibi Bop and then I went to Cheesecake Factory. Mm-hmm. I spent as much in Cheesecake Factory as I did on Bibi Bop. I walked away with armloads of food to come back here and shove in my face, and you just completely accepted that.
It's
like,
easy
that's just
to do.
fine.
I mean,
that's normal.
Cheesecake Factory is expensive.
It is.
It's and like, have you ever been there for dinner?
Yeah, we did once a couple of years ago. We're still paying that off.
I mean, did you lay away the meal? They give you. I mean, okay, so yeah, it's expensive, but they give you a stupid amount of food. And I think I've talked about this before, but like every time I go to a restaurant, my wife wants to split something. Oh, that looks delicious. Do you want to split that? Why don't we split that? Oh, that looks delicious. Let's split that. And my philosophy is, no, I don't want to split that. I'm a grown man. I can eat a whole plate of food by myself. Yeah. Watch me. Yeah. Okay?
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Whenever she wants to split something, she wants to split something that she wants to order. I'm like, okay, let's split something. Let's get the Cuban sandwich. Well, I don't like the Cuban sandwich because it has ham in it. Okay? So we're at an impasse. Okay? We're at a crossroads here. So, it's like I've met you in the middle here. I'm willing to split something because the thing is, she's always like, you never split anything with me. Well, I'm willing to split something for you. Let's split the Cuban sandwich. No. Yeah. Okay. So I get the Cuban sandwich. I eat the Cuban sandwich. And then they have to wheel my fat ass out to the car in a stretcher because, oh my God, and then, you have to have a piece of cheesecake. It's state law. You have to. But the food they give you there, I mean, it's huge, but it is pricey. And what is it, like $38 for a piece of cheesecake? $38.50, something like that?
Yeah,
check local listings.
It's close to that, and they have things like macaroni and cheese, fried macaroni and cheese. So they just take macaroni and cheese, they roll it in a thing, and they fry it. It's like somebody looked at macaroni and cheese.
It's not bad enough. Let's fry it.
What can I do to make this worse? I could put arsenic in there, but that's frowned upon. Let's fry it.
Yeah.
So
let's roll it in bacon grease.
Yeah. So
put the reason cornmeal in it.
The reason we don't eat at Cheesecake Factory is every time anyone in our family mentions Cheesecake Factory, you hear not Darin, you hear Andrew, wherever he is in the house or if he's near us, go, oh my God. So we don't go. He doesn't want to go anywhere near that place.
Yeah. Yeah. Too bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right, that was episode 75. Thank you
for joining us. Go to our website, buy some merch. If you go to Patreon, you can donate money. You can hear more episodes like this one. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll go back and I'll get more. I'll get the blue velvet cake, and we can talk about that.
This portion of our show is brought to you by Pure Vegetable Oil. Hi, I'm Dave Lay, and I know my way around the kitchen. Whenever I bake anything, I use Pure Vegetable Oil. Why? Because I give a crap about quality. That's why. And I care about my family. So next time you're cooking dinner, if the recipe calls for vegetable oil, make sure you use Pure brand vegetable oil. You'll taste the difference. Now back to the show.
So, Mike, you're on Facebook.
I am. I am right now. Actually, no, I'm not.
Every time I get on Facebook, my feed is infested with people giving me their Wordle score. I don't know what Wordle is. I've never played Wordle. I did Google and looked up how to play Wordle, and without ever looking at it, without ever trying it, I'm going to say right now, I think Wordle is stupid. I think it's dumb. And so I'm gonna, you know what? I think I'm gonna start acting like my father and say, I am not doing it. You're not gonna make me play that damn Wordle. Kids today all posting their damn Wordle scores and blah blah and whatever. I mean, you gotta. What is it? You have to guess.
You guess a 5-letter word.
5-letter word, and so every day, if I play Wordle, every day I'm gonna guess clams. Is it clams?
Well, that's clams. It would have to be 5-letter.
CLAMS. Clams.
Yeah. Yes. Clams.
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 Yeah, clams. CLAMS.
Okay, I didn't hear the
5
S on
letters.
There. That's the benefit of COVID recording. Yeah, you got to guess 5-lettered word, which is already I have trouble with that. I just do. Like I do play Wordle every day.
Oh,
Because
you do?
I'm
Okay.
but I'm doing it passive aggressively because here this is my problem with Wordle. One of my problems. It reminds me of Candy Crush, and I'll explain why.
Oh, no, I love Candy Crush.
I know you love Candy Crush.
Yeah.
And I do too. Candy Crush came out, and there was, I'm a gamer.
Yes.
I game. I play the Vidya games.
You're down with the games.
So I was all in the Vidya game. There weren't groups then. There was just like forums you go to, and everybody was casting shade. Throwing shade? Is that what the kids say? Throwing shade?
Yeah, the kids say you're throwing shade.
Yeah.
The millennials, they throw the shade.
At Candy Crush, because they were like, you can't call that a game. That's not a real game. A real game is you're using this sword to hit this person in the face, or you're shooting.
Do you know what I tell people
thing.
when they tell me that it's not a real game?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what my comeback is?
What?
It is too.
So, and then you got the other crew who say, well, this is just Bejeweled, or this is just like the Match 3 game has been around for... Yeah, ever since someone turned on an electric device, there's been a Match 3 associated with it. Candy Crush just happened to be there and do it better than anyone else. It's the same thing. My favorite game company used to be Blizzard. They've gotten weird lately. But they kind of did the same thing. They would come out with a new game. It would just blow everything else away. They weren't doing anything new. They were just doing it better than everyone else. And that's kind of what Candy Crush did. And Wordle is not new. The first thing I thought was, this is Fallout 3. This is Fallout 3, Fallout 4, the Fallout games. My gamer crews know what I'm talking about. I'll explain for the boomers.
Okay.
It's a role-playing game, post-apocalyptic. You're exploring a landscape, and it's made. It's set in like a 1950s. You remember like the 1950s, 1960s, what they thought the future would look like. Well, it's that.
Like
it's like
Soylent
the future
Green.
it's like the future is actually that, with like rocket ships and like robots that look like the thing from Lost in Space that are smart, and everything looks like that, but it's like in the 2000s or whatever, and then nuclear war is hit and the civilization is destroyed, and now you're going through it. So you find all this old stuff, but it's like new. It's weird. And they have a hacking mechanism in the game, a hacking mini game, where you have to guess a 5-letter word, and you have all this code that looks like the Matrix going down the screen, and it has all these options, and then you type in one of the words, or you pick one of the words, and it tells you how many letters are correct and how many are in the right space, exactly the way Wordle does it, except it has them like all there, and you're just picking the words. So I'm like, this is the hacking game from Fallout. I can do this.
Huh.
And so I was going at it, and for a couple days, people are posting their scores, like you said. I don't want to be one of those posters. There's a big share button up there when you do it. I do think it's neat. I think it's interesting, and the reason I respect Wordle, mad props coming from the Mikester here, is because somebody managed to set up a website. I mean, this is ingenious when you think about it. Literally, it's like Google. Literally, the only thing there is Wordle. Like you go to it's the thing on you visit the app or visit the website on your phone. It's just there, and you start guessing, and you get to the end, and it shows you your stats. It remembers you. It puts a cookie on your thing. It's probably tracking you through your the tracking device that Bill Gates put in for your vaccine. It's using all that to figure out and tie your Wordle score to you, so you don't have to do anything. You literally just go to the website on your phone, boom. In there, and then you get to brag or tell people on social media something that they could give less than a about. Look, if you're posting on Facebook, listen to me. If you're posting on Facebook,
nobody
the
cares.
Vast majority of you, 99.99% of you people out there, no one cares what you're posting on your Facebook.
Right. It's like I'm gonna talk to there's probably a guy out there named Kevin. Okay, listen to me, Kevin. If you think that Alice, the hot chick who works at reception at your company, if you think she's going to be impressed by your Wordle score and go out with you, you're wrong. Thank you.
It's just, and I know it's supposed to be fun, but it's one of those, the only reason people are looking at your Wordle score is to pit themselves against you. They're either doing better than you or worse than you. If they're doing worse than you, then you're making them feel bad.
Right.
Okay? If they're doing better than you, then you're proving that you're an idiot.
Right. So okay.
All you're doing when you post your Wordle score is you're either proving you're an idiot or you're making another human being feel bad.
So you can only play once a day, right?
Yeah.
Okay, is it one word that everybody in the universe?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, but I will say it has been they've been normal words. I was expecting weird words, but they've been I think
eagle.
Is that eagle or beaks.
Uh-huh.
Or
okay, so if I'm playing that's 6 words. If I'm playing Wordle and my guess was funky, and then I type in the F and then like no, this word doesn't start with F?
When you type it in, it will color the letters. So if the letter is in the actual word, it'll color it in the actual word, but in the wrong place, it'll make it yellow. If
I'm not interested.
If it's in the actual word and it's in the right place, it'll be green. So that's why when people post their Wordle scores, you see like a yellow, and then a green, and then 5 greens. So like a Wordle badass is somebody that has like all greens on the second one.
Yeah.
There I've seen people with all greens on the first one, but that's just, they're using Satanism to get that. They're doing something weird.
I've got enough stuff to figure out. Over Christmas, somebody gave us a puzzle, and I honestly wanted to just punch him in the face. Like, why do you think I want to dedicate hours of my life to putting something back together? Okay.
Well,
do I look like I have like nothing but free time? Do I look like a guy who likes to figure things out? No, I'm not a guy who likes to figure things out. I don't want to put things back together.
Yeah.
I'm not interested.
I'm getting into puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
I showed you the Star Wars puzzle that I put together.
Yeah.
That's the kind of puzzle. You're talking about jigsaw puzzles at this point, right?
I am, yes. I'm talking about jigsaw puzzles.
I'm not going down that road with you because I had a hoot of a time. I played the Star Wars soundtrack as loud as the Google lady would let me play it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had a hunky-dory time over the Christmas holidays putting this puzzle together.
Not last year, but the year before, we were out and Libby was like, hey, kids, who wants to buy a puzzle? And the kid's like, yeah, that sounds like great fun, So Jacob bought one that's almost 90% green. I mean, it's like dark green, light green, mint green, shades of like a bluish green. And it's just like, and we stared at that thing for days till we finally just said, screw this. And we blamed Jacob and we thanked him for ruining our family. Like, you have torn our family apart by picking this puzzle. I mean, we're like, have you seen this piece? No, I haven't seen this piece. I can't find any pieces.
Yeah.
And we just like, we turned on each other. It was like Lord of the Flies. We finally just put the puzzle in the box and then we burned it.
Yeah. Bessa's sister's family, I think, we haven't talked about this, but I make my own assertions in my head about what they do, and I claim that as fact. They every once in a while will have a jigsaw puzzle out on a table in the house, and just whoever walks by, I think, is okay to put a piece on there, but I'm too possessive. When I started the Star Wars puzzle, if anybody even looked at it like they were about to grab a piece, I'm like, back off, Chuck. This is mine.
Right.
It's my puzzle. So, yeah, I'm not to the community retirement center puzzle phase yet, but
I mean, give me one of those like those 40-piece puzzles, like from second grade, and I'm good. Hey, I got this done in 5 minutes. Anything more than that, no, I don't like them.
You know what I would love to do? This is what I want to do when they finally put me in the home. Yeah, is because that's what they do. They have little tables around with puzzles for people to put together. I am jamming obviously wrong pieces together. Like I'm going to twist them and I'm going to break the pieces so that it would like a green piece into a yellow piece, and it's like a picture of corn. And they're like, no, the green is all over here on the bottom left side. And I'll just be an old crotchety bastard, and I'll swing my cane around, and that's where the piece goes, right there. And I'm just going to do it. And
you know what I always thought would be fun, and I would be the only person who enjoys this. But if I worked at a puzzle factory, I would take pieces out and replace them with pieces from like another of the same puzzle that's not like the same cut, and I would throw those in there. Close the box, send it through quality control. This one's good. Put the $4.99 label on it, and then go to town. And I know I would never see the family, months after starting it. Like, how come we can't find this piece? And I would just laugh and laugh and laugh. Laugh. It'd be awesome.
A little kid somewhere that spent all of his allowance money that he got for the entire year for a puzzle of his favorite sports hero.
Yeah.
And
if there was two pieces,
Christmas.
let's just say you took a couple pieces out. I mean, they would spend all their time on their hands and knees looking under the couch, under the table. Did the dog eat it? Yeah. Where are these pieces?
I had about 5 to 6 extra pieces from the Star Wars puzzle. And when I identified, I was about halfway through and I started to identify extra pieces and I had a small panic attack. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's 5 or 6 of these doubles because there's 5 or 6 pieces missing.
Yeah.
So then I was in it until 3 a.m. I had to finish the puzzle that night because I was going to call quality control the next day and be like, "What the hell did you send me?"
Does Darin Cox work at your puzzle factory? Yeah.
This portion of Irritable Dad Syndrome is brought to you by Zipper Lube. Are you tired of wasting hours of your precious time futzing around trying to open and close sticky zippers? Well, have a seat, Tony. I have a product for you. Just rub some Zipper Lube across that annoying zipper and your problems will magically disappear. Easy up, easy down, easy all around. Zipper Lube, available wherever quality zipper-related products are sold. Now back to you, Mike and Derek.
I started my new job this week.
How was your new job?
It's been going really good. The team is awesome. They're really fun. It's typical first week stuff. I've been filling out a lot of forms, all my information about direct deposit and, all that great stuff and life insurance benefits and blah, 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 and that stuff. I haven't really got down to the meat and potatoes yet of working on a project, but today we had our weekly creative meeting and I've got a desk set up in my basement and to my right, I have a couple of years ago, Libby bought me, those little birds that stand on the thing and they got the water at the bottom and you tap it and then it just rocks back and forth. So she bought me one of those and I've got it in my camera shot. And I said, hey, everybody, good morning. How's it going? And to my right, you'll see my buddy. He's my yes man. And I'm like, whenever I have a question and I wonder if it's a good idea, and I tap it on the head, is that a good idea? And then it shakes his head. It is? Oh, thanks, buddy. Thanks a lot. I think it's a good idea, too. And my boss says, Darin, I'm worried about you working from home all by yourself. I mean, I chose to do this on day 3.
Yeah. It's
welcome to the company, Darin. Oh boy. So I'm working from home, and I've got the rabbit next to me.
Okay.
And I'm used to social interaction. I'm used to talking to going down and getting a cup of coffee with friends, and running into Dave, the maintenance guy, or talking to Karen, Christina, or whatever. So I mean, I haven't talked to anybody this week. Except you. I'm actually very excited to talk to somebody who's not the rabbit, who's not the bird that shakes his head all the time. Yeah. My wife or my kids. So, hi, Mike. So excited.
Yeah. So today, normally we record on Tuesdays. Today is Wednesday, isn't it?
Today is Wednesday.
So did your heart break when I said I can't do it yesterday? You're like, oh my God, I have to wait another day for some sort of interaction.
Well, actually, it was a sigh of relief because you think we don't have anything to talk about tonight. I really had nothing to talk about yesterday. Anyway, the job's going good.
That's good.
Yeah. There's something I was wanting to talk to you about. Do you remember a few months ago when I was talking about the Thanksgiving when we went to my mom's house and she couldn't get the silverware out of her drawer because the knife was jammed in there?
Yeah.
And I had to go to the Walmart and I bought bolt cutters and turkey gravy at Walmart on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I bought these bolt cutters, my mom's like, she wanted to pay me for them. And I was like, no, Mom, I'm good. I'm sure I'll use them for something down the road.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't had an opportunity to use them yet until a week or so ago when my son Jacob has a problem.
Okay.
And his problem is he's been getting into wearing rings. He likes rings on his fingers, and he's got some pretty cool rings. Well, he bought one, and he put it on the wrong finger. Okay, it was intended to be a pinky finger ring that he put on his ring finger. He could not get it off, and he was trying soap and baby oil and cream and everything, and we were running like hot water on it and everything. He could not get the thing off.
So you cut his finger off.
His finger was actually turning kind of black underneath it. We thought he was losing circulation. It was because of the quality of the metal. He didn't buy a very good ring. Yeah, but we thought we were going to have to amputate the finger because it was changing color underneath. I finally just I've got an idea, and I went out. And if you can imagine this, there's Jacob holding his hand out while my wife and I are holding a pair of bolt cutters to the ring.
This does not sound. If you're listening to this, if you're a new listener,
do not try this at home.
If you're a new listener and you're here because you use the keyword bolt cutters or how to remove a ring, and you're about to do to yourself or someone you love what this man did to his child, don't do this.
Yeah. And so it's tricky because you can't really get the bolt cutter lined up right where you need to get it, and you can't get it underneath. If you could get it underneath the ring, there'd be enough room there to get it over the knuckle and get it off.
You're gonna risk because you also don't know, some metal is almost like pliable. Like as you cut into it, it's almost I don't know what it doesn't snap. If you deal with a hardened it's penultimate. Yeah. If you deal with if you ever use bolt cutters on like a lock, like the hardened, tempered, whatever that is, it almost like shatters or snaps. It's like, so you don't know if you're going to take the finger off anyway, or at least a portion of it, or give that kid something he'll never forget on his hand.
Anyway, if we hadn't have tried for a good week to get the ring off, we wouldn't have resorted to the bolt cutters.
Okay.
But anyway, so we got it's like Jacob standing there, and then she's holding his hand out. I've got the bolt cutters, and I got it lined up right where it needs to be. And just as soon as we started to bend the bolt cutters together, he yanks his hand out of the way. I'm like, you got to stop yanking your hand out of the way. Believe me, you want to keep this as still as possible.
Yeah, these are going to cut through something. And
anyway, after about 5 or 6 tries, we finally got it, and we cut this ring off of his finger with a pair of bolt cutters. And and not even that. So we cut through the metal, right? The metal still, we couldn't bend it. So I had to go out in the garage and got a screwdriver.
Jeez.
That we wedged in between where we cut, and we had to twist it enough to get our fingers, and we finally got this damn ring off of his finger. But I'm like, dude, don't force a ring on your finger. Let's not do this again.
Yeah.
See, that's why it's important. I think every family should own a pair of bolt cutters.
Yeah. You got me worried right now. I always, okay. So my wedding ring, is like, you can see my finger has kind of changed its shape to allow for the ring to be there. And it's just,
mine has too.
It's odd. And every once in a while I panic that do you ever get like ring claustrophobic? Like you need to be able to know that you can get it off. Yes. Not because you're going to take it off, just because you need to know. You just, because I've seen people that reach a point. I'm relatively what you call that, stout, and
that's what you call it.
Yeah, I've met some people, and I've known people in my life that ring ain't coming off. Even after they're dead, they're gonna be sleeved. There's no way that thing's coming off. Yeah. They're gonna either have to lose a couple 100 pounds or lose the finger. That's the only way that they, and for some reason that I get ring claustrophobia for that. So while you were telling this story, I actually had to pry this thing off of my fat digit and shove it back on there to make sure that I can get it off.
Oh my God, I did the same thing. While I'm sitting here telling this story, I was like, can I get my... Yes, I can. Do you take your ring off like when you get in the shower?
No, it's on. Like, I don't take it off for anything. Like, for a brief period, I thought about taking it off, like if I was lifting weights or something, because it was starting to really scratch it up.
Yeah.
But I don't even do that.
I take my ring off, if I'm exercising. The once a year when I exercise, I take off my wedding ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I take it off in the shower. If I'm drumming, I take my ring off because the stick presses on the back of the hand and then it's uncomfortable.
Okay.
And if I'm juggling, especially if I'm juggling clubs, because those hurt when they hit the back of your hand. So, and then there's so I don't know about you, but my skin, I hate wintertime. My skin is as dry as an hour of National Public Radio.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy. It's cracked. And so I take my ring off and then I put hand lotion on. And then once it's in there good and everything, then I put the ring back on. And I know there are people listening going, gosh, are there other times when Darin takes off his wedding ring? Because this is fascinating.
Yeah. Well, I've actually hurt myself because I've taken it off twice. And now my finger's starting to swell. And I'm getting this OCD thing of like, can I take it off now? And it's getting painful. Yeah. I need to lose some weight.
Yeah,
so that I don't have to worry about it.
Well, I talked about going to Walmart on Thanksgiving to get bolt cutters. Over Christmas, I had to go by Lowe's twice over the Christmas break. The first time I was at my mom's house and she asked if I could fix her toilet because the seat was a death trap.
Okay. Did you have to move a dead body off of the seat in order to fix the toilet?
No.
Okay.
But she was afraid someone was going to sit on it and whoop and kill themselves and die. So I looked at the toilet seat. The toilet seat was perfectly fine. Looks brand new.
Okay.
For whatever reason, and I can't explain why this happens, but because they have plastic bolts, plastic appliance, or whatever you call it, plastic bolts that hook it to the tank.
Okay.
Well, for whatever reason, one side had completely come unscrewed, and the bottom part of it was gone, absolutely gone. I don't know how it came unscrewed because have you ever put on a toilet seat?
I have.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You've got to screw that bad boy up there pretty good to get it on there. So I don't know where the bottom part was. I'm like, Mom, this is literally a $3 job. So I drove down to Lowe's. It was right next to Mom's house. And I got the screws and the bolts, and I fixed her toilet seat for her.
That's amazing.
So that makes me son of the year. I'm the guy that goes and gets bolt cutters. I'm the guy that goes and fixes the toilet seat.
So I got something completely... Yeah, go ahead.
3 or 4 days later... So we spent a couple of days at my mom's house, and then we spent a couple of days in a condo that we rented down there where we saw Libby's side of the family, her brother and his wife Gina and their little boy Ryan, and then my sister-in-law and aunt and uncle. They all came. So we had a ton of people at this condo. And someone was taking a shower and slipped on the towel and then pulled the towel rack out of the wall. So... my brother-in-law Eddie and I was like, well, let's go to Lowe's. So drove out to Lowe's, had to buy a screwdriver. We didn't have... Wayne, why do you keep this stuff on you? I know some people who carry a toolbox with them at all times. I'm not that guy. But
I'm
maybe
not that.
I'll stop, or maybe I'll start being that guy. So we bought some stuff, and anyway, he fixed the towel rack. But so, yeah, it was fun. Merry Christmas. We get to go to Lowe's twice.
Portions of this podcast were pre-recorded.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Libby and I sold our pool table.
How did you move that damn thing?
Well, I didn't move it.
Okay.
At all. And this is where the story comes in. So our basement has had this pool table in it we've lived in this house 5 years, and then the old house we lived there for...
Has it been 5 years?
Something. Yeah, it's almost 5 years.
Oh, my
July
Lord.
makes 5 years that we've lived here.
It seems like it was last summer I walked
know.
on that trampoline down the...
I know,
You're
right?
serious. You moved into the house, what was it, 2016?
Mm-hmm.
Holy Lord.
I know. Time just flies.
Wow.
So when we moved into our old house, the people who lived there before us had the pool table, and we bought it with the house.
Okay.
And so, and then we barely played it. We really didn't play it a lot. And we blamed that on the fact that our old basement was unfinished and it was cold.
Yeah.
And spiders and whatever. It just wasn't very pleasant. And so we thought, when we move into this new house that has a finished basement, I know we're going to use the pool table a lot more. Yeah. So we hired people to come and move the pool table. Okay. And the people that we hired to move the table the day we were moving, they didn't show. And you called them, they didn't answer. And we left messages and left texts that they didn't return. Yeah. So I had to call. I'm desperate. I'm calling, trying to find other places. And I get this guy, and they repair pool tables. They move them. They sell them. They buy them. They do everything you can imagine. So I'm talking to him. I'm like, I got stood up, and we got to get rid of this table. And I'm desperate, and I have no one to move it. He goes, man, I'm not going to be able to do it. Because he says, man, I hate this because we've got like 2 other things, and he says, I'm really sorry. I mean, we can come on. He gives me like 2 days later that he'd be able to do it, and I'm like, well, okay, that's the best we're gonna do. The next morning, our doorbell rings, and it's the guy, and he says, man, I felt horrible about last night. Can we move it now? I can move it now. I'm like, yeah, come on in. Yeah. So this table it's a slate pool table, and it weighs well over 1,000 pounds, I think. Yeah. I mean, it's got 3 giant pieces of slate, and I think each one weighs like 450 pounds or something, whatever.
Good Lord.
It's a ginormous pool table, and it's very heavy, and it took 2 guys a long time to disassemble it and move it. So Libby and I decided that we're going to sell it because we never play it. It's been down in here, and we just never play it. It's taken up all this space. It was a perfect pool table for wrapping Christmas presents. Yeah. And it was a great pool table for putting stuff underneath, like our Nerf guns and other things that the kids needed to get out of the way. We decided to play it. So Libby put it out on the intranet, the pool table for sale, this amount of money. We get somebody like within 10 minutes. I want it. I can come get it. Yeah. And I told Libby, I said, be sure to tell them it's extremely heavy. It needs to be disassembled, and it will need to be reassembled. Yeah. And that's what we told the people. And they said, we've got some people who are going to help us. We will take full responsibility for moving the table. Okay. I said, okay. So this girl shows up with another girl and a guy. Okay. and I'm looking, I'm like, there ain't no way they're going to be moving this table. And they looked at it, and they're trying to figure it out. And I'm like, you're going to have to take it apart. And they're like, I think we got it. They were super nice. They're like, we've got a plan here. So they, dude brought his socket set, and he's taking the legs off, and they get the legs off the bottom of it. And Mike, they couldn't lift that thing an inch off the ground. They could not get it an inch off the ground. It was just, and I'm just standing there leaning against the wall like, okay, they've already paid me for the pool table. So I said, do you guys need to come back? Do you need to bring more people? They're like, yeah, thank you. And anyway, they came back the next day, and they disassembled it, and they moved it out in pieces. But what's funny was they brought a guy the second day who just sat there. He was sitting there watching as the other 4 people tried to figure out how to get the felt off, how to remove the sides, how to get the legs. And he's just sitting there.
Well, he was the supervisor.
But he wasn't saying anything either.
You need management,
It's not like he was saying, hey, why don't you lift that up? And then after they got the legs and everything moved, there was another guy who, the best way to describe him, he was wearing wrestling shoes. And the pool table is upside down now on my carpet, and he's walking across it. Oh. Again, they've already paid me for the pool table.
Yeah.
And finally, one of the girls is like, "Hey, do you want to stop walking on the pool table?" Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not a pool connoisseur,
Right.
but I believe that the integrity of the table is of great import. You don't want that thing to warp or, God forbid, crack.
But anyway, they got it. They got it out, and we got so much room in our basement, which is great because we were able to move the foosball table over. Yeah. And I was able to put my desk downstairs. I bought a new desk for my new office.
Okay.
And then we moved Figgy's cage down into the basement with me. And so we got our dining room back too. So it was incredible because it's like just selling the pool table freed up so much space, which was awesome. Yeah.
Irritable Dad Syndrome is proudly brought to you by Diff Liquid Concentrated Wallpaper Stripper, Otis Elevators, and Bones Suck and Mustard. Please use their products whenever possible and help them make a boatload of money. Thank you. Now back to our program.
So this has nothing to do with anything, but we talked about the Bengals last week. So I decided, I need a hat because I'm bald. And the hat from our previous merch group, the Irritable Dad Syndrome merch group before was it's awful. No wonder we didn't sell. I think we sold one that I bought. Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get a Bengals hat. I'm going to be that guy that became a Bengals fan last week, and now I got a hat, and I'm going to walk around and pretend like I've been a Bengals fan forever. I had a notification it was supposed to deliver today. As of the start of this episode, it had not delivered, and I got an email that just popped up and said it's on its way. So the question is, who is on their way to my house at this hour to
I'm sure
give
it's
me
Amazon.
A Bengals hat?
Oh, okay.
It's not from Amazon. It's from the website is fanatics.com. So a representative from Fanatics is going to arrive at my house in the late hours of the night.
You know what? If that person shows up, you got to bring him down and have him as a guest on the podcast. So what do you like most about delivering hats?
Well, this is automatically... This is automatically a story preview for next week. I'm going to have a story about the hat guy. That's the kind of entertainment you can expect here at Irritable Dad Syndrome.
Well, listen, if I could run into a lady at Kroger talking about beets, anything's possible. I mean...
Sometimes we have weeks where we have nothing and they end up becoming our best episodes of all time. And then we have ones like this. And you can't, the classics and the hilarious ones don't really stick out unless you have the stuff to compare them against. Having said that, boy, this is comedy.
Sure is. Are you a fan of Harry Potter?
I don't know. I enjoy, not really. I haven't read the books. I think I read the first book and a half. I get it. I enjoy it. My kids love it. Bess loves it. So, I enjoy it through them. But I am a Lord of the Rings, Dungeons and Dragons guy, and I just look at the Harry Potter and be like,
you know what? I'm with you there because I watched the first Harry Potter movie and I liked it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was cute. I watched the second one, and that's when I thought, man, they're really trying to make this kind of Lord of the Ringsy, and or ringy, however Lord of the Ringsy-ish. Yeah, that's how you say it. And whatever, so I was quietly judging the movie, and it was like it was okay. Yeah. And then
the movies are clever. I will say that there's nothing more boring and uninteresting and rage-inducing than a boring fantasy or a boring sci-fi thing. So I will say I will give them credit for being clever and entertaining. Yeah. I mean, that's hard to do in that genre.
But anyway, so my kids have seen all of them. I think we were watching the third one, and I fell asleep. Now, that's not because the movie's boring. I can fall asleep during a parade. I can fall asleep during fireworks. I mean, seriously, Mike Tyson could be punching me and I would fall asleep. Well, I'd probably be knocked out. But anyway, I
fell asleep at a Kiss concert before, I am the same way.
I fell asleep during Guns N' Roses. My buddy elbowed me. He's like, dude, they're doing Patience. I'm like, oh, yeah. I dozed off during Guns N' Roses. And with...
I had a similar situation where Jim elbowed me and said, Gene is spitting blood. Okay, all right, I'll wait. Let me see.
Well, Gene's always spitting blood. But at this particular Guns N' Roses concert, this was back in the time where Axl would wait 2 hours before coming out on stage. Yeah. So Skid Row were the opening act. They come out and they just tore the place apart. They killed it. They were great. Yeah. And then we waited and waited and waited. And it was almost 2 hours before Guns N' Roses came on. And everyone was pissed. And I was exhausted. and I fell asleep. Anyway, that's not why you came here. My point about Harry Potter was that I dozed off in the middle of the third movie. And then I kind of got confused and I wasn't sure what was going on. And I kind of lost interest in it. And I need to go back and watch those again. Because I've heard that the rest of the movies are pretty good. Yeah. My point is, Daniel Radcliffe, is that his name?
Yes.
Or is it Harry Radcliffe?
Daniel Radcliffe.
And I thought this was a joke, but he is going to be starring in a movie, an actual honest-to-God biopic about Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that as well. That's going to be interesting.
Do you remember when Funny or Die did the Al story with who played Jesse on Breaking Bad? Aaron Paul?
No, I don't. No, I don't. What is that?
Aaron Paul played Weird Al Yankovic in a spoof in a one of them behind the music things. Yeah. By Funny or Die. And so when I heard this, I thought, didn't they already do that? Yeah. But this is going to be a real movie. And I don't know how they're going to make a real movie about anybody playing Weird Al. Now, I love Weird Al. You're not going to ever hear me badmouth Weird Al. I would love to have Weird Al on this show. Yeah. Especially tonight.
I am interested in it. I'm not a huge Weird Al fan. I dig Weird Al, but I'm not a huge fan. For some reason I get, and I know he's just completely different scene, but I remember I thought at the time, and I still think, one of my favorite biopics is Private Parts, Howard Stern. And, it was cool because Howard Stern played himself, Right. And I thought, when I saw that Daniel Radcliffe was going to play Weird Al, I thought, my first thought was, well, Weird Al could probably play himself, through at least more than half of it. Because he's one of those ageless people. Like you could show me a picture of him and say, is this from last week or is this from the 80s? And I would have to look at the type of glasses he's wearing.
All he has to do.
It's like Paul Rudd. It's like if Paul Rudd had a biopic made about him right now, he could play himself from age 12 to now. And they would have to get like a little kid actor for before that. But
no, all Weird Al has to do is grow his mustache and put on some glasses. Yeah. And bam, put his hair in a wig there, a shorter haired wig, a fro. Yeah. And he's right where he was. I mentioned this story on the podcast last year. Yeah. And might as well mention it again because we've got nothing else to talk about. I pissed off a lot of people. I was on a Weird Al fan page on Facebook, and I said that I thought Weird Al was funnier when he had the mustache and the glasses. And you don't understand anything. Oh. You're just someone who only follows his parodies, and you need to listen to the original material.
Was it like
you probably don't listen to anything past Eat It?
Was it like the Matt Damon Weezer fight on SNL?
Yes, that's exactly what it was like.
No offense, but go to hell.
No offense, but burn in hell. Yeah. And I was like, you guys seriously? Because I own every Weird Al CD. I have UHF on Blu-ray. I have all the videos. I even have the Weird Al show on DVD. I've got all of it. I've seen him live. I've got tickets to see him live again this year. I love Weird Al.
So are you
I
excited?
just don't know how this movie's going to go.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask, if you're excited for this movie, because there's been rumors of, for a while, they've died down, but there's been, after Bohemian Rhapsody, if they did a shot for shot of him playing in, what was it, Live Aid? Okay, so they basically did a shot for shot remake of that, including, if you see U2 in there, because U2 were on stage. Now, in reality, they were on stage like a half hour before him, before Queen. But they, in the movie, they make it look like you see Bono and the crew coming down, like, actors playing them, obviously, as Freddie Mercury.
I don't remember seeing Bono and the crew in that movie at all.
They are. I
didn't notice that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a super fan, so I see it. I was like, oh, and I knew they were there, and but anyway, you see them coming down. So then the U2 groups went aflutter. Oh my God, they're going to do a biopic. It was like they were thinking there's going to be a Marvel Cinematic Universe of bands. Okay, so U2 showed up in this one, so they're going to have their own movie. And I thought about it, and at first I was like, well, that would be cool. But then I thought, the more I think about it, the more I really don't want that to happen. Because the whole time, I'm such a fan the entire time, I would be the absolute worst person to sit next to in that movie, because I would either be so into it and leaning over and whispering additional things where people would get up and want to walk out, or I would be kicked out, or I would be sitting there being like, it's not what Edge's first guitar looked like. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you're like, Brian Eno's not that tall.
So
there's no way.
So I would say
there's no way Brian Eno is that tall.
If there's ever a U2 biopic, the only way that I could go see it, Dan,
is if Bobcat Goldthwait plays Bono.
If my friend Dan, who we visited, I'd have to talk with you about the prequels.
I know Dan. I like Dan. Yeah. Dan's a good guy.
So it would have to be me and him. We would have to rent a theater, only us allowed in there. That would be it, because we would be.
Oh, come on! I'm not allowed to go.
No, because if you realize that if you were in a dark theater with us and you said anything bad about the movie, we'd both kill you. Three would walk in, two would walk out.
My God, how many times have I been to the movies with you and I've ruined it for you? Never. I've never ruined a movie for you.
But at first I was like, man, that would be really cool. But then there would be so many caveats to me watching that. I don't think I could do it. Now, I would love to see one of Kiss. If you've, I've said this before. I've listened to some of their biographies. Where they read their biographies. I think that would make an awesome movie. It would be like there was a Motley Crue. They did a Motley Crue movie, which I thought was amazing. It's fantastic. I think that would be a great one. Have you seen the Motley Crue one on Netflix?
No, I haven't.
You should watch it. It's surprisingly emotional. I was bawling by the end. Yes, I was in tears at the end of it. It's really good. I forget what it's called. It's not. Don't watch it with your kids.
No. It's
a 2-hour movie. I think there's 5 minutes of it in which there's not a boob or drugs being done.
Well, it's accurate.
But yeah, I think a Kiss one would be great.
Biopics are just hit and miss. I mean, I thought Ray was really good.
I did not see that. I didn't see that one. Yeah.
And then, as much as I love Johnny Cash, I was not a fan of Walk the Line.
Okay, I liked Walk the Line.
Yeah, I mean, it was okay.
Was it because you were too much of a fan? Do you have the U2 syndrome like I would have if U2 did one?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I didn't think Joaquin was... I mean, so many people were like, oh my God, he is Johnny Cash. No, I didn't think he personified him well enough. And Reese Witherspoon was not June Carter at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she won an Academy Award for it.
Yeah.
And I like Reese Witherspoon. So if she's listening, my apologies, Reese. I love you in all your other movies. I Walk the Line just didn't do it for me.
I would like to see one. I would think it would be interesting to see one of Tom Hanks. I think it would be cool to watch somebody like, what is that story of him going from this like goofy comedic dude to like
how he transitioned.
He's like America's Dad. I've heard him called. I know Bob Saget got that title for a bit, but
well, that was actually Bill Cosby had that title.
Yeah, but yeah. And then the incident went
Yeah.
down. But
Tom Hanks's son, Colin,
yeah,
is the spitting image. He could totally play his
He
dad
is.
in that movie.
yeah, he could.
Yeah.
He could.
And that story would be, it's like, because I remember I was watching TV and there was an award show or something, and I saw Tom Hanks on it, and I remember he just looked like hell. And my girlfriend at the time said, yeah, he's in a movie where he plays a guy who has the AIDS virus. And I was like, Tom Hanks?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
you get the Money Pit.
Yeah.
The Man with One Red Shoe.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks. The Burbs, Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But
I would like to see, and this was rumored to be in production. It's been rumored for like the past 10 years. I don't think they're ever going to do it. Seth Rogen, I think, was going to do it. Well, there's two movies, one that Seth Rogen was involved in and another one he's not. One about the war between Sega and Nintendo in the 80s and 90s, which is just, I don't know if you remember that back in the day, but Sega kind of took this stance of Nintendo is for kids and we're for like the cool kids. And Nintendo had this thing of like, we're wholesome, but we're kind of not going to be right now for a little bit. And there were so many weird behind the scenes stories. So Seth Rogen and a few people were involved in getting that off the ground, but it never happened. And then
I've never heard anything about any of this.
Yeah, it was a big deal back in the 90s. I mean, the one commercial that was like a shot across the bow, which, looking at it now is kind of silly, but the thing was Sega does what Nintendo don't. And that pissed Nintendo off to no end. And so they were at each other's throats like Coke and Pepsi for about 10 years. And then something happened and then they just quit. The other one I would love to see, and I bought the book for it and I think it would be great, is about it's called The Creators of Doom or the Doom Creator, something about the guys that created the game Doom. And about the video game creation in the 90s, or like these guys were like nerds living in the garage, and then a year later they're driving like a different colored Ferrari for each week, and they just went insane with their money. So I think when I see The Wolf of Wall Street, I love the movie The Wolf of Wall Street. It's almost, I could picture it would be a similar type movie. Just they go from just from nothing up to you got to be kidding levels of fame and fortune and have no idea what to do with it. So I think that would be cool to see. But
well, listen, guys, thanks for listening. We really appreciate you sticking with us on this episode. Hopefully next week, Mike and I will be in the same room recording together. If not, we'll do it separate, but we will do one regardless. So we appreciate you listening. We want you to go to irritabledadsyndrome.com. Check it out. Listen to previous episodes. Go down into the 40s and check out some older ones. There's some good stuff on there.
Yep.
And we've got merch. Valentine's Day is coming up.
Yeah.
You can buy your girlfriend a Whompers all beef footlong hot dog, beach blanket, coffee mug, beer mug, all kinds of stuff on there.
I gotta make
Show that lady in your life how much you love her with the gift of Whompers.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta come up.
We're gonna go.
I gotta come up with a Valentine's themed Whompers shirt. That's my goal.
Yes.
All right.
That's our goal.
See you later.
All right, guys. So talk to you. Bye.
We hope you've enjoyed our show. Seriously, I'm not just saying that. We do this show every week to help spread a little happiness all over the world. Catch you next time.
Well, we've filled this toilet up to the brim with crap.
Yes, and it's overflowing.
It is. It's almost a death trap.
Somebody get
the bolt cutters.